Audiobook Academy. Book Summary. The Story of Dr. Dolittle. By Hugh Lofting. Hugh Lofting is an English author best known for his children's book The Story of Dr. Dolittle. The Story of Dr. Dolittle, being the history of his peculiar life at home and astonishing adventures in foreign parts, is the full title of the publication. This book is the first in a 12-book series about this well-known physician, whose special talent was his capacity to communicate with animals. Despite not being a veterinarian, Dr. Dolittle always had a lot of animals on his estate in a little English village. With time, his pets drove his patients away and nearly drove him and his unmarried sister into bankruptcy. He became a veterinarian after learning how to communicate with animals through the doctor's parrot, Polynesia. The doctor was invited to Africa to treat a monkey plague after hearing of the remarkable doctor who communicates with animals circulated throughout the world. Africa marked the start of his travels. He came across numerous tribes that no one had ever heard of before, as well as some unusual creatures like Push-Me-Pull-You. I had two heads, one of which had a gazelle and the other a unicorn. Additionally, he encountered pirates, explorers, princes, and other fascinating people who helped to make his journey a wonderful adventure. When the novel was released in 1920, it was criticized for being racist. The author made it clear that he never intended to hurt anyone or incite hatred, but fresh copies of the book had to be revised because of the passages in which he depicted various tribes. Nevertheless, this book is a kid favorite. Even today, adults enjoy Dr. Dolittle's adventures because they are so funny. People that enjoy and get along with animals are referred to be genuine Dr. Dolittle, since the persona of Dr. Dolittle has become ingrained in popular culture. The numerous film and stage adaptations of this book further increased its appeal. Theme: The Adventures of Dr. Dolittle, who can speak to animals, in Africa. Moral: if someone finds their calling, they should pursue it because it will take them on incredible adventures. In Puddleby-on-the-Marsh, Dr. Dolittle shared a modest cottage with his sister Sarah. He was a well-known doctor who cherished his many pets. His pets included an owl Tutu, a pig Gub-Gub, a duck Dab-Dab, and a little parrot named Polynesia. A salesperson for pet food from Polynesia once suggested to Dolittle that he become a veterinarian. Polynesia began describing to the physicians how animals communicate by moving their ears, paws, and tails. Dolittle learned how to comprehend animals and became a veterinarian with the assistance of Polynesia. He was receiving more patients as a result of the rapid spread of word about him. When Dolittle started earning a lot of money as a veterinarian, he bought a dejected monkey that other animals called Chi-Chi. A toothache-ridden crocodile from the circus wanted to stay at Dolittle's because he enjoyed it there. All he had to do was pledge that he wouldn't eat any of the fish from the pound. Despite his kindness, people avoided him out of fear. As a result, they stopped bringing their pets, and Dolittle's financial situation deteriorated. With time, the house turned into a zoo, and Sarah, the doctor's sister, moved in. The animals now had their own jobs to complete. Many animals were starving as both the money and the food were disappearing. When winter arrived, a swallow informed the doctor that there was a monkey pandemic in Africa. The doctor's lack of funds prevented him from purchasing a ticket, but he thought of a sailor whose daughter he had saved, and he decided to lend him his boat. The doctor had a pig, a parrot, a crocodile, a monkey, a duck, and a dog with him. Following the swallow, they traveled for weeks. Near the African coast, they encountered a storm that caused their ship to become stranded, but they were still able to escape. The doctor's misplaced hat was his lone regret. When the duck took the hat, he discovered a tiny white mouse inside of it. He placed it on the hat's brim. They were met by a black man who instructed them to accompany him to his tribe. The monarch didn't trust the doctor when he said he was there to help the monkey, so he imprisoned everyone else with the exception of Polynesia. Because he had an issue with a white man who plowed across the area in search of gold and killed elephants for their ivory, the king didn't believe them. They were able to escape thanks to Polynesia, and they soon came across some healthy monkeys who used their bodies to build a bridge so that everyone could travel safely to the land of the monkeys. They were met by thousands of sick monkeys, and the doctor sought the assistance of his creatures. As king, the lion initially refused to assist, but after being persuaded to do so by the lioness and recognizing that if he wants assistance one day, he must first assist others, the lion changed his mind. Everyone had recovered from illness after 2 weeks, and the doctor slept for 3 days and 3 nights. He informed them once he had awoken that they needed to return to Puddleby and settle the bills. The monkeys chose to thank the doctor by giving him Push-Me-Pull-You, one of their rarest animals, despite the fact that they had no concept of money. This creature has heads on both sides of her body rather than a tail. Dolittle cautioned the monkeys to stay off the ground when it rained and that flies would swarm their meal. The team had to flee but were captured once more after the money escorted them to the location where they had built the bridge. When Polynesia heard the prince say he wanted to be a white monarch, she once more preserved herself and waited for the proper moment to save her friends. Then Polynesia spoke in a feminine tone and introduced herself as a fairy. She informed him that the Dr. Dolittle, who the prince's father had imprisoned, could assist him in achieving his goal. The prince visited the jail that evening and told the doctor everything. He wished to change his skin tone since after he kissed Sleeping Beauty once, she became afraid of him. Dolittle pledged his assistance, but only provided the prince sets up a boat to transport them to safety. Dolittle concocted a concoction that turned the prince white, and because he was so delighted, he let them out of the cell. By the ship, Polynesia and Chi-Chi were waiting for them. They both made the decision to remain in Africa. The swallow served as their navigator as the other passengers boarded the ship and sailed for shore. As the swallows grew weary, they dragged the ship into a bay where a large number of rats emerged from the middle of the vessel. Rats notify a ship's captain when it is going to sink, and Dolittle was aware that the ship was rotten because of this. The swallows informed them when they were seated on an island that pirates were on their boat attempting to rob it and that the robbers' boat was empty. When the pirates saw what was happening, they forced the ship to stop beside the broken boat. As he awaited the ship's sinking, the doctor began negotiating. The sharks, who knew Dolittle, came and threatened the pirates as they attempted to board the ship. Dolittle discovered a boy on board. He had no idea where his uncle was when he was 8 years old. The dog began looking for him based on the smell, and he eventually discovered them at the cave's base. The child said goodbye to his red-haired uncle as the swallows dragged the boat to a small fishing community. After a brief celebration, Dolittle returned to his house. He made a lot of money with the aid of Push-Me-Pull-You and arrived in Puddleby as a wealthy man. He bought 2 ships for the sailor and a new piano for the mice in addition to paying the merchant for all of the goods. Abrodio zarabli anagjika auto samgodina, koji niye ponrakukupid von nova broda, abigelam mevamanovi glassiver, doctor pronoun obrodu. Characters: John Dolittle, Sarah Dolittle, Animals food salesman, Parrot Polynesia, a pig gub, a duck dab and an owl tutu. Famous British author Hugh Lofting was born in Maidenhead, England, in 1886. He first expressed a deep interest for animals as a young child, and as a child, he had a small zoo. He began working as an engineer in South America and Africa after completing his studies in America and England. After some time spent roaming, he returned to the country and went a New Yorker. He became a writer since he was always inclined to write. Hugh began crafting hilarious theater pieces and short stories. When the First World War broke out, he enlisted in the Belgian army and soon learned the important role that animals, mostly horses, played in battle and that they were not entitled to any type of care if they were injured. He began writing letters to his children, Colin and Elizabeth, in which he identified himself as Dr. Dolittle. His wife persuaded him to include the letters into a tale about a veterinarian who can communicate with animals. When the tale originally appeared in 1922, it was a huge hit. In 1947, Lofting perished. Thank you for listening in Audiobook Academy. Don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button for more content like this. See you in next video.